Hello again everyone, we are the South Group presenting the input and production subsystem in garlic. This will focus only in Ilocos region. Contents. Under the content number 1, we will be tackling the input subsystem. These are the varieties, soil description, materials, fertilizer, and pesticide. In other hand, the content number 2 will tackle the production subsystem, where it will be the land preparation, time, method of planting, irrigation, crop protection, and harvesting.
Part 1. Input subsystem. These are the parts of the input subsystem. 1. Description of garlic varieties in the Ilocos region. 2. What are the types of soils they use? Where did they get their materials? 3. What are the fertilizer and pesticide they use?
Varieties. Description of garlic varieties in the Ilocos region. Ilocos White and Ilocos Pink are the most common variety of garlic planted for commercial production in the region. Ilocos White is a moderately resistant to insect pests and diseases. It matures 90 to 100 days after planting. It has a potential yield of 3.5 ton per hectare. It has a prolonged span of shelf life.
Soil type and materials. What are the types of soils they use? Sandy loam, clay loam, and silt. Garlic can be grown in different types of soil. However, sandy, silt, and clay loam are recommended for commercial production. The soil should be fertile, rich in organic matter, well drained, and capable of holding adequate moisture during the growing period. Where did they get their materials? The major source of seeds of garlic was from their own production. There were around 24% each who obtained from Department of Agriculture Regional Field Unit and local government unit. Traders and input dealers were the sources of seeds of 8% and 7.56% of garlic farmers, respectively.
Fertilizers and pesticide. What are the fertilizer and pesticide they use? In Ilocos, they use liquid inorganic fertilizer or fertilizing garlic. While in pesticide, Ilocos Norte had the biggest proportion of farmers who applied liquid herbicides, and it follows by Ilocos Sur.
Part 2. Production subsystem. These are the parts of the production subsystem. 1. What are the methods in land preparation? What month should they plant and why? 2. How do they plant? What type of mulching will they use? 3. How do they water the crop? How often? 4. What are the ways to control pests? When do they harvest and how do they harvest?
What are the methods in land preparation? Well, there are two types of land preparation for garlic production, and these are the with tillage and without tillage, or what we call the zero tillage. In with tillage, this method of land preparation for garlic is similar to that for corn, soybean, and other upland crops. The field is plowed and harrowed twice or more at 7 days interval or less. A tractor-mounted rotavator can also be used. While without tillage, this method of land preparation is usually practiced in the lowland rice fields after the harvest of palay. Rice straw and weeds are cut close to the ground. If the soil is too wet, the field is allowed to dry until the desired moisture level is attained. Canals are usually constructed around the paddies to ensure no standing water, heavy rain, or irrigation. What month should they plant and why? They start planting by the month of October to November. Garlic will produce bigger bulbs because they like a cold temperature.
Did you know planting in December tends to produce smaller bulbs, especially in the latter parts of the month due to infestation of thrips and mites, and the bulbs are sometimes affected by early rain.
Method of planting and mulching. How do they plant? Planting garlic is relatively simple. Separate clubs. Space the clubs 4 to 6 apart. Rows should be spaced 1 foot apart. The clubs should be planted with the pointed end up and the plant end down. Push each club 1 to 2 into the ground. Firm the soil around it and water the bed if it is dry. What type of mulching will they use? Mulch can be applied before or after planting. Mulch is evenly laid on the field with thickness of 3 to 5 cm. Rice straw is commonly used as mulching material in Ilocos. Mulch controls soil moisture as well as the growth of weeds.
Irrigation. How do they water the crop? Basin flooding was the usual method of irrigating mulched garlic during the dry season. Irrigation water was conveyed from the supplementary and internal farm ditches to the side of the basin. The basin was flooded and water was allowed to infiltrate the soil. Most of the moisture was retained in the basin. This picture here on the screen is just an example of basin flooding. How often? Garlic is usually irrigated 3 to 4 times, depending on the availability of water and rainfall.
Crop protection and harvesting. Type of pest. Basal rot, also called bulb rot. Widespread plant disease caused by a variety of fungi and bacteria that can infect all flower and crop bulbs. What way to control pests? Removing infected plants as soon as they are noticed and planting disease-free seed helps manage the disease. In addition, it has been shown that hot water treatment of the garlic cloves can reduce infection up to 50%. Weed control. Generally, garlic is grown under mulch. Weeds appearing in the mulch should be removed with the use of a narrow-bladed hand trowel.
When do they harvest? Harvest time would fall on the months of February and March. Planting garlic requires arduous work and constant care. Hence, the steep market value of the crop, although the prices are also greatly affected by the supply and demand. How do they harvest? Garlic matures 90 to 120 days after planting. Generally, early planting has longer period of maturity than the late planting. Indices are the softening of the main stem above the bulb and the yellowing of the 75% of the leaves. Harvesting requires pulling the individual plants by hand. In post-harvesting, the harvested bulb can be sun or air dried. Sun drying ranges from 3 to 4 days. Thank you for listening. These are the references.